Welcome back to Kind Regards, the show. I wonder if you've ever experienced a productivity deficit. This feeling that, I have to, I must, I need to get this work done. I was just outside and I recorded 3 videos and they were all very rushed and all very strained, very preachy. Like, they took on this posture that I had these really great ideas and that everybody needed to know these ideas, and these ideas were, like good or perfect or like right, right in all contexts or something like this, which is a strange sort of posture to have. And I finished doing these videos and I felt really terrible, and I thought, oh, I've got to make these 3 videos. I've got to be better at this. Like those aren't good enough. I've got to do more. Okay, I've got to write down all these new ideas. I've got to reorganize the old ideas into better things, or I've got to add this perspective of humility into them, or I need to talk about the limitations of our own subjectivity in order to like balance out the fact that I think these are good ideas, but at the same time they're only applicable to me. I need to do all this. And then, well, it struck me that I can sort of take a step back and drop back in my sort of consciousness, instead of being identified with the content of my mind, the thoughts in my mind, sort of uneasy feeling of like rushing, and the uneasy feeling that I didn't do good work, the sort of bodily feeling of disappointment, and also this feeling of the deficit, like not only I'm about to talk about a productivity deficit in another sort of way, but I felt like I had lost time by doing all this work. And so instead of being attached to these elements of the content of my experience, right? Instead, I kind of just dropped back into the context of experience, the sort of silence that gives rise to sounds, right? The sort of emptiness that gives rise to the fullness of my sort of sight, the thoughtlessness that has to be there to give rise to thoughts, right? These are all the sort of context of my experience. And I sort of dropped back into this, and just all of a sudden it was way easier. It was way easier to just be. Instead of needing to do all this stuff, instead of being compelled by all these thoughts and feelings and emotions, instead I got to change gear from the doing mindset into the being mindset. And it was a huge relief. It was a huge relief. And I reflected, I thought, why do I need to do all this stuff? Why is all this doing happening? The productivity deficit, this sort of other notion of it is like, if I don't do at least this stuff, if I don't finish this to-do list, or I don't do 3 hours of focused work, then what? Then I'm not good enough. Then I'm a bad person. Then I'm not fulfilling my obligations. Then you know what I'm talking about here? It's this idea that we have to reach this cap to be acceptable. We need to reach this threshold of work or exercise or whatever, and then I'll be okay. Then I'll pass as a human being in the world. I'm acceptable. But in the sort of non-duality of consciousness, when you drop back into just the context of experience and sort of let experience in yourself, you're not identified with the content anymore. So instead you're just consciousness. You're just kind of everything. Everything's sort of happening. We're everything at once. And in this state, this is more of a being mindset, I think. And in this state, we actually don't really need to do anything, We're like a dog in the sun, just laying there, or a cat on a windowsill. We can just be. There is no urgency. When we're in touch with the present moment, we lose this feeling of, if I don't, then what's going to happen? Like the moment, the present moment is finished. It's like it's perfect. There's nothing to add to it. When we're really in touch with the present moment, it's very rare that I think like, and it just has to be this way, and I need it to be this other way. As soon as I'm thinking about its imperfections or how it can be improved, I'm not in the moment, I'm in thought. I'm like lost in my mind and in the content of experience again. So when we're in touch with the moment, we're in touch with the present, it's complete. It doesn't need to be any other way. And we can sort of rest in that. And it felt really antithetical to this productivity deficit, you know. I went, you know what? I'm okay. It's okay. This moment, it's all right. I don't need to push. I don't need to do all this work. And if I don't film and edit 3 videos today, then that's going to be terrible. Excuse me. Instead, it's all just what it is. It's all just happening. This is okay. And, you know, what did I do after that? Well, I reflected on this. I wrote this kind of down in my notebook here. And I thought, okay, that's actually a much nicer video. It's a much like more honest video. It's a lot less like rushy, and there's a lot less sort of desire involved. Like the desire to get ideas out there, it's a lot less forced. And so I thought, oh, that's pretty good. And look, I ended up making this video. I ended up sitting down and recording. So this posture of like the moment as it is okay. It's perfect. It's complete. I'm okay. I don't need to push and change experience in order to accept it. This posture is not, it's at ease with doing. It's at ease with completing tasks and moving through our lives. We've got stuff to do. We can't always just be like in the blissful rapture of the present moment. We need to change our experience in order to stay alive and achieve our goals and be kind to others and all this stuff. So we've got really good. It's not do nothing or do lots of stuff and be stressed. It's not do nothing and be calm or do heaps of stuff and be stressed. That's not the dichotomy we're in. Instead, the being mindset, as opposed to the doing and being stressed mindset, the doing and being stressed mindset over here, sorry, in case you're watching, I was using my hands and sort of confusing things, but we can be, once we've let go of what we have to do, what we must do, if I don't do this, then I'm not good enough, then the day is wasted, then, oh, what have I done? Once we let go of that, we can just do things that we want to do. We can do things that we're glad to be doing. I'm glad to be making this video in this sort of new mindset of ease, and I'm still getting stuff done. And I think I've done this in the kitchen before, like, when chopping onions, just chop onions. I can be rushing around like super busy, trying to get onto the next thing, onto the next thing, onto the next thing, rushing. The leaning forwards, I'm doing this in order to do this. I'm doing this now in order to do that. I'm doing that in order to do this. This constant chain reaction of I've got to do the next thing. I can step back from that, when I remember to, and I'm lucky enough to remember to, and have the sort of mental faculties that are required. And I can go, oh no, I'm just doing this. Just do this. Just focus on this. Don't need anything else. And then all of a sudden I'm cutting onions, but I'm not forcing myself to do it. I'm not doing it because I have to. I'm doing it because I want to. I want to have these onions cut, and that's nice. And I'm glad to be doing something that I want. That's a nice thing. Yeah, so hopefully in the rest of my day, I'll be able to incorporate this a little bit more. And hopefully this perspective is useful, because I think the world wants us in this doing mindset, or maybe it doesn't want us, but like it, the sort of productivity chat that floats around the internet, and the being at work and being obedient at work, all of these things sort of push us in. Caffeine does this. Caffeine gets us really excited for the next thing. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? The internet and its abundance of sort of information and clickable links. I can go to the next thing, go to the next thing, go to the next thing. What's next? All of these sort of forces influence us to be in the sort of next moment mind, rather than the present moment mind. And so I don't think that this is a strange, I don't think it's limited to just me. I think that all of us sort of experience this from time to time. And it's a useful thing to be able to remember that we can sort of drop back and be like, okay, can I accept this present moment as it is? Do I need to be doing anything right now? Forget about the future, right now. Am I complete? Is this okay? Can I accept this? Can I stop resisting this moment and staking my happiness on the future? I'll be happy when this happens. Can we just let go of all of that and accept where we are? And then once we've done that, we can go, okay, time to make a video, time to cut onions, time to, keep typing at work, time to, return from the bathroom and talk to my friend at the cafe or whatever. It only takes a moment, and we get better at it as we practice. At a long time ago, this would have been completely foreign to me, and now it feels like it comes to me more and more often in times of need. And so it's a practice, and we can get better at it, which is really exciting and like helpful. But I hope this is useful to think about. I hope this is something that helps you out. This has been Kind Regards. Thanks very much for watching. There's a Substack link and a YouTube and Spotify link, so you can get the sort of content how you like it. The Substack is articles that I write, which are a little bit more in depth and a little bit like they're more polished. I improvise these mostly. And so the articles there are really tight. Like I write them over a whole week, and I really scrub them up to be as good as they can be. So it's a whole different type of sort of content and ideas to contemplate that I couldn't really do in this video format. So if you want that kind of stuff, the more in-depth stuff, please check that out. Also, the features, I've just released a feature, and that's where I read out the articles. They're going to keep getting better because that's the first time I've ever done something like that. So they're going to keep improving. So stick around for those if you want that sort of more in-depth content, but in audio or video form. Thanks very much. I hope you have a great day. Take care.